Yo, good morning. Yeah, I guess it's morning where I am, so I guess that's all that matters. Before we start this off, I just wanted to acknowledge that there's no creepier feeling than setting up a camera in the back of a van with no windows in the parking lot of a middle school. 'Cause that's where I am right now. They emailed me and told me that it's difficult to find parking out here, so make sure I show up a little early, which if I'm supposed to show up at 9, in my head I'm like, I want to be there 30 minutes early. So if I speak at 9, they want me 30 minutes early. That's 8:30. I want to show up 30 minutes early to my 30 minutes. So that's 8. And then I like to show up 30 minutes early to that 30 minutes just to make sure. And everyone thinks I'm crazy because of it, but I got a flat tire and it was in Arizona. I woke up in the morning to a flat tire, but luckily I was 2.5 hours early. And then in San Antonio, I showed up to Judson College Prep, but there's Judson College Prep and miles away there's Judson College Early Prep. And I showed up to the wrong school, but luckily, again, 2.5 hours early. Right now I'm in Staten Island, but I got here by September 11th. It was Tuesday. I was in Los Angeles. Actually, before that, I drove to Los Angeles from Arizona on September 5th. Spoke there, and I was probably 30 hours from San Antonio to LA. And as soon as I got there, I met up with comedian Kate Quigley, and she's a friend and she's a pretty funny comic. She's back here in the van doing a podcast with me, and she's like, "Oh, I wish I knew you were here. I would have invited you to Texas with me to open up for me." And I was like, "Is the opportunity still there?" So like maybe 1:00 in the morning, I booked a ticket back to Texas with her, and I got to perform Thursday night, 2 shows Friday, 2 shows Saturday. Flew back to LA on Sunday. Spoke Monday and Tuesday in LA. Then the night of September 11th, I slept in St. George, Utah. Really different place. And then drove to Denver. Wednesday night slept in Denver. Thursday night slept in Omaha. Friday night slept in Des Moines, then went to Minnesota and got to do Twin City Veg Fest. September 16th was Sunday. I got to run into the legendary Bruce Leroy, which is a black vegan comic in Minnesota, and we were supposed to link up a while ago. Finally ran into him at Veg Fest. Spoke at Veg Fest and emceed, and that was a great time. Cara Jean, who runs Soul Space Sanctuary, she has like an Airbnb room at her house in Minnesota. I got to stay there, and it's like a giant hot tub, and it's beautiful. And she's got peacocks in the yard and pigs and all these animals. It's a sanctuary. It's where they go to be sanctified, maybe. I don't know. Then spoke in Olson Middle School in Minnesota on Monday. Tuesday drove to Green Bay. It was the first time there. There were no vegan restaurants, and probably because they're like known for cheese. But I guess I don't know if they respect vegan cheese over there. Then I took the drive from Wisconsin, stopped off in Pittsburgh, and recorded a podcast with Ed Lattimore, podcast co-host. Haven't seen him since November in Tampa. That was a good time. He was down there for a wedding. I was down there for a speaking gig, so we ran into each other and did a podcast. And then I drove to Jersey, which, Jesus Christ, it is 2018. I don't sell anything. I have a card reader in my fanny pack at all times because it's 2018. There's Venmo, there's PayPal, there's Square Cash. None of those people sponsor me. They should, but New Jersey Turnpike doesn't take anything besides exact cash. Who has cash in this day and age? It's very upsetting. Voice is cracking. I think I'm going through puberty again. That's how upset I was. New Jersey goes on the list next to Oklahoma for states I don't really particularly care for. Who has cash? So now I get, they give me like a little ticket thing. Now I have to mail in a check. A check? They should have put on a scribe. That's what they should have done, because it's apparently olden times. Ugh. Yeah. Anyway, when I got to Jersey, I recorded a podcast, ran into former teammate Leroy. He fought at 108 pounds. But he fought at 108, but he walked around like 130. And if he would lose in one of these international tournaments, we were in Kazakhstan, and he lost and was in his feelings, so he just decided to eat himself crazy. And in like 24 hours, his knees and ankles swole up, and he was walking with a limp, not for like swag or anything. He was just, he's just fat. That was cool to run into him. I got to meet his beautiful daughter for the first time, and I got to meet both of his daughters. He has a son, but I didn't get to meet him. He was at football practice. But left there and hung out with Marcus Brown. Went to his place, hung out with him for a little bit, got to talk, and I realized, like, it didn't hit me how cool my experience was with boxing and all my teammates, because in the last 48 hours I ran into 3 former boxers, and we got to talk about our times boxing, the place we traveled, and all the things we forgot, and the times, Marcus and I talking about times I try to fight people over just silly, like when you go on these international trips and you don't have Wi-Fi because there's so many boxers in the hotel that the Wi-Fi is just, it's too slow to even use. You end up having to talk to your teammates, and like you start learning about people's families and middle names, like everything about each other, and you start playing cards, and you really become a family. But with becoming family, you realize how much, how comfortable you are yelling at your family members. Jesse Hart, I wanted to fight him because he drank some of my Coca-Cola that I had in my fridge. I don't even drink Coca-Cola. I just needed a reason to be mad at something. Because you're just stuck in a hotel talking to people. I think Marcus was going to fight Terrell Goucher over something silly. I mean, it's always something. But got to talk about all of our experiences, and I was just like so happy. And I realized like it's I don't know if I want to go back to boxing now that I realize like how cool it was. And also Jamel Herring was he was a really old guy on the team. You used to call him Pops. He was just a really old man. He was only 27. I'm 30 now. I don't want to be the old dude. But also, you get perks from being number one. For one, it's easier to book gigs because I'm like, the current number one boxer or whatever. So that's good, but also I don't want to be like, and also health insurance. Man, that's expensive. I see why everybody was like arguing for that. Arguing for like free healthcare or whatever, the Obamacare. I didn't know what it was because USA Boxing always paid for my insurance, and I looked into how much it would cost me to get it on my own. And yeah. It was like $540 a month or something silly like that. Yeah, definitely. Especially when I'm healthy. And updates. I decided to not utilize the hitch on the back of the truck since it was stolen off before, and kind of consolidated everything inside of the van. So I don't really need the storage box. I put the generator on the inside of the van with the gas can, so no one could really steal anything. And because there's no hitch or nothing on the van, no one really knows that someone's living in here, so I don't have to be worried about getting robbed or anything like that. I do have a rooftop AC. A dude at a Planet Fitness parking lot, he was sleeping in his van. It was like a minivan though. It wasn't like this. I think he was just homeless or something. But he was like, "Hey, if I had that van, I would put I'll put a fake sticker on the side of it, like a FedEx sticker or something like that, so it looks like a delivery van, so you can double park in places. And this was like, it was Denver somewhere, and I wouldn't know why I would need to double park. And then I got to New York, and I was like, oh yeah, that would definitely come in handy for me to like double park somewhere out here. I'm trying to be a little more consistent with the podcast. I figured out how to, because the issue I was having before is I didn't want to record the podcast in here, even though it's called like Down by the River Podcast, and I want it done inside the van. That's going to be the fun part for me. But it gets really hot in here. But I find out how to cancel out the background noise in the video editing stuff. So you boys out here doing YouTube tutorials and learning. Everything you want to be able to do, you could do it from learning it online. And maybe 1,000 years ago, when only the rich could learn how to read, school was highly valued. And then when everyone got to go to school, it was still valuable. But then you can learn everything off the internet. So when people are going to school for like entrepreneurism, or how to create apps, I guess part of it you can learn how to create apps, but why would you need to take electives to learn? There should be just trade schools. There's too much fluff involved in the whole college thing. It's super expensive. I was reading an article saying that actually, I'm not even going to get into this any further because I don't really remember much of these facts, and I just don't want to just yell out a bunch of wrong things. I'm going to save all of that for about an hour when I go into the school. I'm literally 2 hours early. So I decided to record this, but I'm going to try to be a little more consistent with this, and now that the editing is down and all of that, I did record a podcast with Leroy and Ed, but I didn't with Marcus. We just got so caught up with catching up that it was like midnight. I'm like, I gotta go to bed. So after this, I'm going to Guelph, Ontario, Canada. Got my passport in the glove box, but I think I don't know if it's Guelph, but there's gonna be a Veg Fest up there. I'm speaking or emceeing or both. I got to speak at the Twin City Veg Fest, and usually it was the second time I've ever spoken at a Veg Fest. Usually I MC the entire day, and when you MC, you have to stay by the ring. You have to, not the ring. Oh, geez. Oh, you got to stay by the stage, for Q&A, or if a speaker's supposed to speak for an hour and they stop after like 35 minutes, I've got to go fill in 25 minutes. So I end up speaking more than anybody else. But at Twin City Veg Fest, I just got to speak, and you just show up 10 minutes before your talk for 45 minutes, and that's when people sell stuff, but I don't care to sell anything. I guess it's not fun for me, and I sold t-shirts at Nashville Veg Fest, and I'm like, they're at a t-shirt booth. I only sell two different kind of shirts, and people walk by, and I'm looking at them, looking at the shirts, and then we make eye contact, and they feel oh, I gotta say something because I don't want them to think I don't want a shirt, even though they don't want my shirts, and then I don't want to look at them because I'm I don't want to pressure them into buying the shirts. Money makes me uncomfortable. I think that's what I realized. So I don't really care to sell anything. So at these Veg Fest, I don't ever accept the booth they give me, which is probably silly. People could probably be making more money with that, but just don't care to sell. And then walking around with merchandise. If you want anything, you can just buy it online. Also, I don't sell anything online, really. Yeah. But I got to just walk around and enjoy the Veg Fest. And I got to MC the party after, which was cool. It was a very low-key party. Sunday night, you can't expect much. Oh! Mark and Lauren. What is Mark's name? He was one of the speakers at the Veg Fest, and he's a religious studies major, which, if you know anything about me, I'm not the biggest guy on religion and that type of stuff, but this guy was just so intriguing, and I didn't ever want him to stop talking, because he was Mark Berkson is his name, and he's a professor at Hamlet University. We're talking about all these different things, and he's just got so much knowledge. He knows everything about religion, and the way he explained religion, he explained it in a way to say that all religions are 100% right and 100% wrong at the same time, and it's completely okay. And I had a very narrow-minded way of looking at religion, but after talking to him about 2 hours, I felt like I could talk to him without feeling like I was being judged, or like any of my questions were stupid, because I have tons of stupid questions. And there are such things as stupid questions. I don't care what anyone says. He was talking about the brain. There's apparently like a village or something in Africa that they don't have terms for left and right. So if I was going to grab this cup, I'd be someone say, "Hey, can you grab that cup on the east side of you?" Or like the west side or the northeast. That's how they do directions. They don't have the concept of left or right. So it develops something in their brains to where if you put them in a room, blindfold them, spin them around in a circle, they could find north. They can point north. So they have a built-in compass in their brain. I mean, I think that's pretty cool, because imagine all the other things that your brain could do that we don't even know because technology. And I'm not willing to give up technology to find it out. So I just think it's cool when I do get to find it out. There's also a tribe. I think it's an African tribe as well, where they can see like 30 different shades of green. So when a normal person sees the 2 different shades of green, it looks exactly the same. But after the tribe, these people develop something where they can identify so many different shades of green. It was really weird. And then someone was telling me that until like the last 500 years, we couldn't see the color blue, I believe it was. Yeah, but he has a bunch of facts, and he knows. I don't know how people can retain so much information. I've been doing the Sleepless September, and every morning I've been waking up and reading for an hour before I leave the van. For the most part, I missed a couple days, like when I was traveling and had to drive through the night and stuff. But I reread How to Win Friends and Influence People, just because I felt like I learned a lot of stuff from that book, but I don't retain information as well, and I just can't really get into audiobooks. If anyone actually watches this, if you know of any audiobooks that has like an enthusiastic reader, like the person who's like narrating the book or whatever, like I want some voice inflection, some excitement, some highs and lows, and kind of sell me the story. Then it'll be a little more entertaining. But since then, I guess I'm just doing a lot of podcasts on the road. I got an 8-hour drive tonight after I leave the school, headed to Canada. So that's like, it's an 8-hour drive. That's like 2.5 Joe Rogan podcasts. But I'm all caught up on the Joe Rogan podcast. Listen to Your Mom's House with Christina Push and Tom Segura, and then Birdcast with Bert Kreischer. I can't listen to Open Tabs because it's more of a visual thing, and I try to save those for YouTube. But and I just found out that you can download Netflix, like shows on Netflix, so you can watch it offline, because I haven't gotten a hotspot for this van yet, which I do need to get, because I can stay in the van a little more often instead of going to libraries, because people just aren't as quiet as you would hope they would be. But yeah, can definitely get that Wi-Fi. But anyway, I've been downloading Netflix shows, because before I go to bed, I have a routine where I watch 22-minute episodes while I play Soda Crush, because Candy Crush, we're over that. So I allow myself to play 44 minutes of Soda Crush a night before I go to bed. And yeah, I've just been sleeping in Walmart parking lots as well, and there's so much I've learned about the whole van life, and I've only been doing it for like 2 months, but I definitely want to like share this with the world. I wish I knew about this earlier. If I was 18, like, I live with Matt Mays, since I was like 18, And imagine, we could have just lived in 2 separate vans and just parked them next to each other. I spent so much money on hotels and flights and rental cars, where I could have just been, all of North America is my backyard. And by all of North America, I just mean like Canada and America, because I just don't feel safe in Mexico. Don't know if anybody else does. And I don't know enough about Mexico. I don't want to go down there and get robbed. There's no reason for me to go. Chipotle figured it out. Mexico had something really good going on with burritos, but then they decided to put their little salsa thing on top of the burrito. It kind of ruins the burrito, if you ask me. Now it's no longer a finger food. Like, you can't eat it with your hands because there's sauce everywhere. They should put everything inside of the burrito. But Chipotle sampled this style. They were using it wrong. And tacos might get some heat for this. I've been saying it for years. I don't like tacos because tacos are unreliable burritos. You start off with a burrito, basically, and then everything falls out, and then you have to start eating with a fork. So why don't you just start the meal with the fork and just get rid of the carbs of the tortilla? And don't even get me started on hard shell tacos, because you take one bite and then you just have nachos. You have to just eat. So that's silly. I'm a big fan of burritos. And, talking about food, Mama Says, which is the vegan, plant-based meal delivery company, which has been sending me meals. Every Friday, they'll send me a package of meals, and I just microwave it in the van. And I always saw those meal delivery companies and thought that, well, you're just lazy. Can't you just set aside 3 hours a week to cook? Just 3 hours a week. You can meal prep for the entire week, and then they're now sending me meals, and they're good, and there's no dishes involved. Like, I have a container I just use and rewash the same container, but I don't know why people need to cook. Yeah, it's healthy food, and my problem is portion sizes. I don't believe in normal portion sizes. I put as much food can fit in the bowl or the plate or whatever, but they give me 21 meals. I eat 3 meals a day. I do have snacks as well, but it's a lot easier to eat healthy. So I suggest trying out Mama Says. So this podcast is brought to you by Mama Says, MAMASEZZ, I believe. I don't know. I'll put in the link. Also, this podcast is brought to you by MeUndies. I'm just joking. They don't. A lot of podcasts are. I figure if I do this long enough and start getting followers, then I'll get ads. But this is more just for me. I'm gonna start inviting people in the van to do podcasts now. Then I'm starting a third podcast, and I just put. This is available, of course, on YouTube because that's where you're watching it, or if you're listening to it, not YouTube because you're just listening to me. Because now I'm putting the audio on iTunes and I believe Google Play. I just registered for Spotify, and they said they'll let me know in 24 to 48 hours if my show's accepted, and I'm hoping it is. Well, yeah, that's pretty much it. It is 8:40, which I'm only 50 minutes early now. So I'm going to, I guess, look over the presentation. An issue I've been having is I do slides with my talks, and it's kind of like storytelling joke form, and at the end of each joke there's a moral or a message. And I feel like if the kids are laughing, they're listening. So my goal is to basically do stand up with a message. And I don't know if it's already a genre, but like a comedic keynote or something of that sort. So that's kind of what I'm doing. I don't know if that's normal. It just hit me a couple days ago that I have no formal training, and I've never really watched other speakers or youth speakers speak. I watch some corporate stuff, and I'm supposed to be going in the corporate direction, but I just rather speak in shorts and a t-shirt and not wear suits. But I'm going to go in the corporate direction. I just don't know if what I'm doing is right or acceptable, but I'm doing jokes, and at first it was difficult for me to have like a quality 15 minutes, and then when I got to 30 minutes, then I'm like, okay, I'm I'm good for school assemblies. And it was a 45-minute assemblies I was doing, and I'm stretching 15 minutes. But now, once I got to 45 minutes of quality material, I just kept adding on to the speech, and now I have probably about 2 hours of material. I can do like a 2-hour talk, and of course I think it's entertaining because it's me, but I feel like I can capture students' attention for over an hour, which is difficult. I do some interactive exercises, and they make sure they listen, because if I call on them or whatever and call them down to the stage, they want to at least know what's going on. And I do a live Q&A on Instagram. But this school, I'm not going to do it. They emailed me and told me that they like the idea. Because with Q&A, kids don't want to ask questions in front of everyone else, so they can just ask on Instagram, and then I get to skip over the inappropriate questions or anything like that. So it definitely makes that process easier. And I tell them, like, if we can all be mature about it, if you have a question, take out your phone. You can just type the question and put your phone away and kind of do it on the sly. And I don't care if you have your phone out, but be respectful about it. And I found if you treat kids like adults and then expect them to act like adults, you'll get better results than treating them like children and then tell them to act like adults. So that has worked out. But a lot of, like this school said that kids sign waivers to not be recorded or have their picture taken at school. And I've heard about it a few times, but someone just explain why. Because I know some of these kids could be a witness protection program, or they can be not hiding, but have a restraining order against a parent, and their parent doesn't know where they are or something like that. So for them to be online, it's not safe, because then whoever is looking for them could find where that kid is. No. I don't know how likely it is, because I don't know if you see the views. I've got like 60 views on these videos. But I totally get it and respect it. I'm going to, after I leave here, go to Canada. Then Monday through Wednesday, I'll be speaking in different parts of Ohio and small towns. And then going to Wednesday morning, I speak at like 9 a.m. And then I take a 4-hour drive to Flint, Michigan, where I will be bringing my own water. Isn't it crazy how they don't have water? Yeah. I don't even know if a Brita would be good for them. Yeah, I don't trust Britas. Also, people with Britas, people with a Brita, that's how you'll say it, they don't change the filter. So Alice at home, she only drinks water out of a Brita, but I don't think, since we've been living there since 2012 together, I don't think she's ever changed the filter. So it takes forever for the water to drip down, but I drink the water from there because I like cold water, and her Brita's in the fridge. So I'm not gonna lie, more than a few times, for years maybe, I would just take the filter out and just fill it with water, unfiltered water. She doesn't know the difference. And I stopped doing that because I just felt like it was a douche move. But yeah, going to Flint to do Flint Veggie Fest, and I'll be in a movie, actually. I don't know what the movie's about. I didn't read the entire email. I just agreed to it. It'll be in Detroit. I'm filming next Friday. So next Friday through Monday, I believe, we're filming. And I'm excited about what that process is going to be like. And I don't know what the movie is about. And I don't know what role I play. I hope I have an accent. I feel like I go Jamaican. Yeah. I definitely need to start reading all of the emails that I get instead of just skimming stuff. Yeah, I guess that'll be it. Just head on the road, and I will take... Hey, also, like, subscribe, or whatever, share. You know, but I do say, if you are going to use the Mama Says, I have a link. If you use my link, I believe you get a discount. I think 10% discount or something like that. Or I could have just made that up, but use my link anyway, because I want credit for it. Yeah, I guess that'll be it. I'm going to go inside the school, speak, and Oh, maybe I can upload this while I'm there. This has been good, and I'm starting to make myself at home. Like I realize how little of things I need. Like I have this giant chest of drawer I bought from IKEA, and I felt very manly and impressive because I put everything together myself. But now it's just really too big, and I have like 10 of these shirts and 10 of these vegan shirts, and that's literally all I wear. And when I go to Veg Fest, I get their shirts, a bunch of sweatpants, or a bunch of basketball shorts. I need to buy sweatpants. I only have one pair of sweatpants in this van, but I don't need that much room, so I'm going to get rid of this dresser. I'm going to probably drop it off at Goodwill, and I think I'm going to just get a large suitcase and put all my clothes in the suitcase and just take it out as I need it. Or like up here on this wall, I'm trying to see if I can attach like one of those IKEA, like not so much a dresser drawer thing, but a cabinet. Like, look, if I can just put cabinets here on this back wall, that'll be awesome, and I have more space. Anyway, I feel like it's like 31 minutes. I don't do any editing, but it'd be really cool if I had like a producer or something, because, or at least someone to bounce ideas off of. Actually, you guys don't know who's in there, so yeah, I think is that good? Did you like the recording? Sound good? Good? Okay, yeah. All right. There's no one here. All right. Thanks for watching, and people of Patreon, thank you. I'm not real active on there. I've been writing blogs and stuff, and I need to get them all edited, and I'm going to start putting them out as soon as I can get like 48 hours where I don't have to drive or speak, so I can play catch up. Also, January and February, my goal is to choose maybe 4 large school districts. I think I'm going to do one of these months in Florida because there's a lot of school districts. I'm thinking about Dade County, Broward County, West Palm Beach County, and Duval County up in Jacksonville. And I'll speak at those 4 schools. The goal is to speak at one school a day. I believe it's 21 school days in February. And I like do that because I've created a Black History Month speech, and basically speaks about how sports was a vehicle for the civil rights movement, and I speak on compassion and tolerance and how that relates to the compassion and tolerance that we need today for different civil groups. Anyway, I'm going to start planning that pretty soon, choosing dates and locations. Hopefully I'll make everything close, so I don't have to like drive around too much, because gas gets a little expensive out here. And it was $15 to drive into New York. $15. There's way too many potholes and mean people for me to pay $15 to be here. Anyway, I digress. Thank you for watching or listening. Like, subscribe, share, tell someone, put it in a carrier pigeon, whatever. Later.